And
Paul.
from Michael's camera, we are doing a roundup discussion on last week's cocktail photography shootout between the Fuji GFX 50s and
The Hasselblad X1D, also 50.
So now at the end of last Thursday's broadcast, which was just a little over a week ago, because we did it around lunchtime, I believe, we talked a little bit about what our user experience was with these two cameras. But now we've got a chance to sort of get into the fine details of the user experience, bring up some of the problems that we had on this shoot, and of course review the photographs. Now, at the beginning of this broadcast, you see we used on our title card, and I guess we can just cut to it right now. We've got the smoky-eyed ginger, one of the shots that Paul took on the side table. We were predominantly working on the bar surface, as you recall, and we had a smaller table that was kind of in front of the video production unit that was driven by David, and David's here with us again today. Harry's on cameras again today. So the first drink that we prepared, or we didn't prepare, it was Taylor was preparing them at Whitehart Bar, was the smoky-eyed ginger. It was a good-looking drink. It was unfortunate that we were working at the time because we would have
really cared to drink them.
Yeah, I'm almost thinking that we should tell them at Whitehart that the pictures were terrible,
Yeah,
and we need to do a reshoot, possibly on a Saturday or a Friday night.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's here nor there. The pictures we had a lot of fun. Yeah, we probably could have shot better pictures if we weren't doing a video, but we're working professionals and we can do it. And I think we did do it.
I think we did.
So let's talk a little bit about what our technical challenges were on the day. We were trying to mix ambient light with flash.
Yes.
We had a Pro-Photo kit. I don't think we ever really changed shutter speed during the day. We had them both at 125th. I think all of our photos were at 125th.
I think we might have at some stage just mucked with the idea of getting a bit more ambient light in there.
Yeah.
For that shot actually of the smoky-eyed ginger, I think there was a bit more, I might have opened it up, but according to the details here, I didn't. So
yeah, so that was early on. We were predominantly shooting at like 5.6. Our baseline ISO on both cameras when we were using the flash was 400. I wrote it up to 500 on one of them, but this particular shot is, I remember I changed the softbox direction on the front light a little wee bit for you because I saw you were framing this. I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed I didn't take the shot because I think this was the true hero of the day. I really liked this shot.
Yeah.
It looks like we were working with natural light, and it had you fooled when I just brought it up.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a corrugated iron front at the bar below the bar surface, so it was sort of like the front face of it, and the rear flash was coming in at an angle, and so it was split by these little sort of ripply slats of the corrugated, which has given us this kind of
contrast. It's actually worked really nicely.
Yeah, and we've got the lines of the drink. We've got the lines on the table surface. I mean, it truly is a hero shot, and a very attractive cocktail, I might add. I just really think that I need to establish whether it tastes good or not.
Yeah, I think that's the point. We need to imbibe a few of them.
Yes. Do you even remember what was in it? Smoky-eyed ginger.
No, I mean the ginger is a bit of a giveaway, but as far as the booze itself, I really don't know.
There was a lot of booze being poured. I think if you did review the video, which we'll link in the comments here, you could probably find out what it was. And I highly recommend you head over to Whitehart and you taste these cocktails. Part of the winter menu, the winter list. What do they call that? It was the winter something.
Winter of my discontent. Something
could have been that. Yeah. We're spending an awful lot of time on this first drink. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about was what we did with the cameras. There was an issue I had with the Fuji when I used it, and it has to do with the placement of the play button. The play button is on the top of the rear display module, which kind of looks like an old-fashioned digital back on a regular camera because it kind of juts out a bit here. But I find that everything else about the camera is quite easy to get to, but review, my thumb wasn't quite big enough to reach over here, and I was wondering how do we set it up for auto review. So Paul has figured this out, and what is the deal? You found the menu.
I did indeed, but the thing was we were looking for display review or something like that. It's in the playback menu, so if you just go into playback, and if somebody's remembered to turn the camera on, back into here. Oh, this is completely dead. No, okay, so back into playback, and where we just find it into here, you've got two, of course, settings. You've got the actual playback, and then the settings for playback. Yes. And if you go into user settings, where it actually is hiding.
You might just aim it over a little
Well, we
bit,
could do
or
it.
whatever.
But it was a terribly convoluted way of finding the thing anyway. So,
Full disclosure, I'm not a Fuji shooter. Love the camera, love the feel of the camera, love the results of it, but I'm not a Fuji shooter, so I'm not familiar with their menu system. I am pretty certain that the complete Fuji line uses the same terminology for everything.
Quite
It's just that
possibly.
they like to use some different words that we didn't expect.
anyway, it is obviously enough. It's in screen setup.
Screen setup, exactly
okay.
where I'd
And where you
expect
think it would be. And it does in fact say preview, exposure, and white balance in manual mode. And if you turn that off, and then of course you actually get a consistent display through.
Because
the
we were,
viewfinder.
that was the other point. We were struggling with our preview because it was doing true exposure simulation. So the fact that we were illuminating our subject with flash, the preview in the electronic viewfinder, keep in mind, there's no optical viewfinder. The preview in the electronic viewfinder was ambient only. And that's where
And that's why we were seeing a
that's
dark
where we were
image.
struggling.
Yeah.
And then it was the playback review was the other one. And I like a little auto review so I can see what I'm doing because I find it a little hard to reach the play button on this particular camera. But those are kind of niggly points.
I
If you
can sort
owned
of-
it, you'd figure it out.
Yeah, I can understand why it was turned off, because if you're in the middle of shooting, you don't want this image popping up all the time, just showing. I mean, if you're in the middle of shooting a sequence or you're trying to work quickly, you don't want it continuously popping up images that you then have to either get rid of or wait for it to go away.
Yeah.
So fair enough, really.
So that was my main issue with the Fuji. I didn't have any problems with focus. And yourself?
No, not at all. And I mean, on the whole, those two are very small things. We pretty much, it was a very easy camera to use.
Yeah.
And we got good results out of it straight away.
I was really questioning while I was shooting, was I getting the focus I wanted? And I wasn't generally trying to focus on a garnish on a drink, maybe the front surface of the glass, or just, obviously on the drink. And we were working in a bit of a challenging low light environment. When I started looking at the photos, when I brought them into Lightroom with the Fuji, I didn't really see anything that was a dud due to focus. The rejects that I had were just compositionally, they weren't as good as what I needed.
A little bit
But-
wonky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I found, we've got a selection of 27 here. I'll just bring the thumbnail view up here for you. You can see our 27. Now we're just running them from an iPad here. Now I do apologize. The iPad, blame Apple for this, does not sort them in any order that I can determine, but we'll deal with that elsewhere. We have a reference view from the original Facebook posting, which I will cross-link back to this, but it's linked to the original broadcast. You can see all of the pictures as edited. With descriptions of the drink and the shot setting. So we know what we're looking at. So when we get back to the original hero shot that we both like, which Paul shot, I didn't, I can't take credit for it, was our smoky-eyed ginger. This is shot on the Hasselblad. And
Funny, isn't it?
so I was still working with the Fuji at this point, albeit the Hasselblad had the flash, and Paul was on the side table, and he framed this one up. And again, like I say, I'm kicking myself. I didn't shoot a couple more with this background. But we've got a hero. The tall drink with the contrasting light and dark background, it just works so well. So just to...
I particularly like the little lights. In the
let's
stem
just
and
zoom
lines,
in.
yeah.
In the stem,
Yeah.
we're looking through at the corrugated area.
Yeah.
Look how sharp this is.
Yeah, these are superb.
And you can see a
Yeah,
little
look
bit
at
of
that,
bursting
yeah,
coming
yeah.
off the stem
Yeah.
here as well.
Yeah, that's nice,
Just
isn't it?
fabulous. But no terrible lens artifacts at all. Out of focus is just dreamy and beautiful. And again, one other thing about full disclosure here. We reset the Fuji in literally 1 minute before we started the shoot, and we didn't check it. We talked about it in the broadcast, but we didn't confirm. We thought we were shooting RAWs with JPEGs. All we had was JPEGs out of the Fuji. But the shoot didn't suffer.
No, it's fine.
The white balance, we would have been in auto white balance. I didn't change them too much. I might have warmed them up a little bit in post-production. But the JPEGs out of the Fuji were brilliant. The Hasselblad did shoot RAW, but again, in full disclosure, we had the automatic white balance set to fluorescent on the Hasselblad.
Yes.
And we were commenting in the broadcast
Crap.
why it was looking a little odd on the back of the monitor, on the
Yeah.
back of the Hasselblad. But that was just a white balance. But because those were shot in RAW, it was trivial to change them later. So that was all good. So let's go through and let's take a look at a couple more of the shots of the smoky-eyed ginger. So we started off with it on the bar, which would probably be here. This would have been one of the first shots. So let's bring this up here. Let's go through. It's this one here. So that is, okay, shot on the Fuji. That's at a 60th of a second. Oh, interesting. It was a 60th of a second at f4. Oh, I was actually riding the shutter speed on the Fuji to bring in a bit more ambient. That's exactly what I was doing. But still, ISO 400. As you can see, you zoom in on this. These must be like cane sugar cubes or something.
So,
look at that.
So, what's it? Caramelized ginger or something like
Oh, yeah, caramelized ginger. That might be what it is. Smoky caramelized ginger. Okay, so again, so that was at a 60th of a second at f5 at ISO 400 on the Fuji. Brilliant picture, sharp as a tack. Now, let's talk a little bit about the out of focus regions here. Now, Paul has had some extensive travel experience in Japan, and I believe you went to Japan for a launch event for the Fuji.
Yeah, that's quite right.
I'm really pleased with the look of the out of focus regions on the Fuji's files. I think they're just brilliantly dreamy. The lens that we used was the 120mm f4 image stabilized macro. This is a great combination macro, product photography, and portrait lens. We did use the image stabilizer, and we were not obeying the rules of thumb of minimum shutter speed. I mean, theoretically, they're saying with these medium format cameras, you need to be twice the 35mm focal length. So this works out to about 90mm. The pundits are saying that means you need 180 of a second to shoot a handheld shot that's stable.
That didn't bear out at all.
I didn't see any pictures that were struggling due to anything.
The
stabilizer's working. 60th of a second on this thing.
Fine, yeah.
We did really, really well. I didn't see anything struggling on the Hasselblad either, even though it's not a stabilized lens. But on the subject of the out of focus highlights, so we've got a flash. It's in the upper corner here, upper right hand corner. So you can see a little bit of it coming through here in the upper right hand. We've got, I guess there's just been some other point light sources or things that are reflecting some specular highlights. And so
you can see how smooth the highlight points are though. If we cross to a picture with the Hasselblad later,
let's just grab something out of the Hasselblad.
Defined.
So this is shot with the Hasselblad. Let's find the smoky eyed ginger one, not that one. It's this one here. This is the Hasselblad. Now take a look at what we're looking. It's same looking down the bar, different drink I might add, but looking down the bar. Let's find the shot details for that one. It should be coming up here. Bear with us, it's fine. Okay, yes. So that is the Hasselblad shot. So now got a hand of the Hasselblad ISO 3200 here. Now I've taken these 50 megapixel files in Lightroom and I've down-res them to 4,096 pixels on the long axes, and they start out at 8,000 and change. So these are about a 50% scale down. Back to our shooting experience. Sorry to just jump topics here, but both Paul and I struggled with vertical camera hold. We were bending over this bar. Everything that we shot was skewed.
It was wonky,
But with such a big 50 megapixel canvas to play with, you can do so much cropping and rotating of pictures, and you're just not losing much. But now, okay, back to the drink. Now, this was the Smoking Ruse? Was this what this one's called?
It's Smoking Ruse. Yes.
Smoking Ruse. So, yeah, we zoom in again, and we've got the out of focus region. So now, there's a Japanese name for this out of focus area. What's it called?
Bokeh.
Bokeh.
Yeah, bokeh.
Okay, yeah. So we've got to that's what it's called. So we'll always say that now. And definitely, I would say that bokeh is somewhat busier on the Hasselblad.
Yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? I mean, look at that highlight there. It's quite a defined octagon rather than the actual quite smooth circle. So the diaphragms in each lens are really quite different from each other. And that gives you a very different look to the definition of the edges of the out of focus area.
And so you're seeing it in other areas below that principal highlight, more octagons here. And of course, that was at 1/90th of a second f5.6 at ISO 3200. So, hey, now this is all a matter of taste. What do you like?
Yeah,
I mean, there's some people who might like the stop sign. I must admit, I'm leaning towards the look of that Fuji for the background, but that's my personal opinion. Let's get back. Now, we've got a couple of shots of that same drink. There we go here. Now, this is where it's actually smoking. Now, this is shot on the Fuji. Let's bring it up here. Okay, that's it. So that's an 80th of a second at 5.6 at ISO 400. So that is shot with flash. We are a little less on the foreground. It's a little bit of a moodier shot. There's a rosemary sprig that's been put into this drink. that our bartender Taylor has lit up with a little kitchen butane torch.
Yeah.
And because the way we've sort of backlit this and we've got that softbox in the front, it's we've got good smoke trail here. It's quite a fun picture. And again, just working with the bar surface and just sort of framing these things up, we've done quite well. And again, look at the complete circular nature of the. Very good, very good. So, how's your recollection on the smell of that one? I don't have a sense of smell.
It actually reminds me of juniper.
Juniper, okay.
Yeah, it's a very similar sort of smell.
Yeah.
Very pungent. It's
Yeah,
nice.
so unfortunately, I just don't have a sense of smell. I've been trying to train my nose to work again, but I've had no success.
Oh, that's good.
So I'll just have to visually look at the smoke and not.
It smells like juniper.
It smells like juniper.
Yeah,
Okay,
if you
well,
remember
good
what that's
to
like.
know. And juniper goes well with gin. Or
Well,
what they make it out of.
Yeah, that's always one of the components.
Like a hand. There must be gin in there. I wonder if there would be.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't
did
know.
in fact drink that afterwards.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was very good.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent. Okay, now let's get back on. Let's take a look at. Well, here let's go choose. What do you think is some more
let's try
your
something
personal
else here.
favorites?
Let's see what we haven't looked at. What's this one like?
Oh, okay. Well, this is when we. That's the what was that called? The Concrete Jungle.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's find out what our shot settings were on Concrete Jungle. I think he might be. Okay, that's it. That's it.
That's the one.
Okay, so that's an 80th at f6.4.
Yeah.
Shot on the Fuji at ISO 400. Okay, so we've got the sharpness on these leaves. This must be like some mint or something, is
Yeah,
it?
it is mint,
Looks like we've got a lychee there as
lychee,
well. Yeah. The drink has got some light shining through it. A good reflection off the bar surface.
quite nicely.
I was sort of doing my best making some props up here with, we've got a big, I don't know, it's like a copper bowl of some sort. It was quite interesting. And we had bar napkins there. There was a couple of bottles of some sort of bar hot sauces or something, but we just kept using those as props. But that's how it worked out quite well. So this one we stopped down a little bit. I guess we were a little overpowered. I wanted to get the background down a bit. Who knows what my thought process was. I'm not even sure if I took this one.
I thought you did, but maybe.
Hard to say.
Yeah, it is really.
Yeah. We can always take a look at the old tape. But anyway, yeah, so we got that. So that one worked out quite well. Well, not tape.
Yeah, I know.
We're
what you mean.
old. We always refer to these things as tape. This was a fun one. This is the one I used as our lead-in, I think. Or maybe I didn't. So this has got our little cocktail skewer here, which they're quite cute. I like them. And just sharp as a tack here on the little piece of bamboo, right on the edge. And you see how the focus sort of falls off. We've got that little, it's the smoky eye ginger again. We've got that little ginger in the top of that. So where's that one? Our shot settings on him.
Let's see.
No, I think we got to go the other way.
Okay,
Let's bring that up. Unfortunately, these iPads don't have a simple way to tell you your shot settings. There's probably an application. Oh, that's it
That's
there.
it there, isn't
Yeah,
it?
so what are our settings?
Okay, so.
Okay.
Oh, that's actually natural light.
Yeah. Again, and that's high ISO. That's ISO 2500.
And you've got no loss of detail at all. I mean, look at the little bubbles around the top of the glass there, and the granulations in the sugar on the ginger.
Yeah. The resolving power of these cameras is just incredible. This is a brilliant lens. We're getting in nice. I could have probably got in even tighter on that. A minimum focusing distance is probably right up to the lens or something. It's a macro.
Well, it's and also, I mean, we've blown the highlights there a little bit as well, but yeah, I mean, you could muck with that easily.
Oh yeah. There's lots to play with. Just to give the customer a bit of a mix and match on these things, I delivered some as square, some were the original camera aspect ratio, because I know that they're probably going to want to use some on Instagram. You can't really expect your customer to be recropping your pictures for you, so you've got to kind of deliver a bit of a mix and match. And I know they're going to want some of these for Facebook and Instagram, and that's where they're going to get used. Let's. What else did we have here that was kind of interesting? Oh, this is from the Hasselblad. I can tell it a mile away from the.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is highly backlit. This is ambient light. Here it is right here. So this is 90th of a second at 5.6. Oh no, it's not ambient light. Sorry, I must stand corrected. That's the flash.
Yeah.
So we wanted to see what the behavior of these two lenses was like when we had the flash in the frame.
Right in the front of the lens, yeah.
We couldn't get the Fuji to flare.
No.
I never saw any flare. Nothing changed when that flash was in the picture. The Hasselblad flares. A little bit of flare in the back here. Attractive flare, but it flares. I'm a big fan of lens flare, and I know that modern lenses are designed to do everything without flaring. I know that I really did a lot of work on Lightroom in this one because this was almost a silhouette.
Yeah, right.
I was, I don't know, I was like blocking the softbox with my body on this one. We were working fast and furious on this just to try to get it all done. If this was not a video and we were taking our time, we would have had one drink made, we would have concentrated on getting 3 or 4 looks per drink and then moved to the next one. I mean, honestly, this was a camera shootout that was a little bit more about entertainment. And but I still think we've delivered, you know, a set of acceptable pictures. You know, for what it's worth, I might just go backwards in time a little bit. I might just show you what we had from what was kind of like the brief, because I had shot some cocktails at Whitehart earlier, and so I had these. Now, again, this is Canon 5D Mark III. I've got an older body. What's that, about 5-6 years old now by now? It's been a while.
Yeah,
it's been superseded by the 5D Mark IV. But I was brought in to shoot the opening night at Whitehart, and I gravitated to the cocktails because I know when I'm doing nightclub photography or bar photography and it's a big event, you know, you want to capture the food, the atmosphere, and the product. And the product out of a bar is cocktails. I think on this particular gallery, my gut tells me 2 or 3 pictures were shot at with a 16 to 35 mil Canon f4 lens, which I rather like. Most of them are shot with a Canon 85 mil. And I know, and I always struggle for focus. This is with the 16 to 35 at 35 mil. And that starburst that you're seeing in the background, not done in post-production, done in camera. I've got the flash at the end of the bar shining right into the camera. And I've stopped her down to, oh, I don't know, f8 or something here. And that lens flares, well, doesn't, not so much the flare, but it bursts quite well.
Starburst, yeah.
So I went into this shoot with Paul for the video kind of cheating. I knew that a light shining down the bar is going to backlight us quite well. And that's on one of the tables. So I had a lot of fun with that. And out of focus is not bad, all things considered, because I'm kissing up right close to it. But yeah, this is sort of what our brief was.
The resolution is so different, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is, you know, your standard gear that most working pros would have. A Canon or a Nikon digital SLR and a few lenses. Trying to remember which lens I shot this one. Probably the 85.
Yeah,
I used 4 different lenses that day. I used a Canon 50mm, the 85 1.2, which is the, I don't know, what do they call that? It's got a funny nickname. The Jesus lens or something like that. It's got very good bokeh.
Why do they call it the Jesus thing?
Well, I think it was because it looks like things were touched by the Son of God when we took pictures with it.
Yeah, okay. That's nice.
But anyway. And I used, what else did I used the 16 to 35 that day. Basically, as the light failed, I moved to the faster lenses. I had 2 cameras with me as well. So I had the 50 on one of the old 5Ds, and I had the 85 on the Mark III. But trust me, that 85, when it produces a good shot, you got to fight for it because it struggles with focus. The Fuji with this 120mm macro lens focuses way better than that Canon does. But I do like the looks of the Canon, and a fast lens is quite nice. Of course, this was at night, so
I think that Canon lens is just generally acknowledged industry-wide as being one of the slowest focusing things you can get, though.
Yeah, if it was any slower, you'd have to phone it in advance and say, "Could you please focus?"
Yes, exactly.
It's hideous.
As operated by snails.
Yeah, it basically is. But when it works its magic, you get some good results.
But looking at all these images you took with the Canon, in comparison to the shots taken with the Fuji and the Hasselblad, they look like they've been taken with a phone.
They do. Yeah. They do. And there's a lot of things happening. Now, keep in mind, we staged our shots a little bit better. I've got an awful lot of distracting background elements.
I just mean the actual contrast values and the whole tonality across the
image. Yeah. I wish I could tell you what the ISOs were for these things. In general, I was sitting in the 320 to 640 range, if I recall. I don't like to take that camera up too high. If I was shooting with this in my personal kit, I would never be afraid on either of these to go up to 3200, maybe even 64. I'm very impressed. I won't take the Canon up to
I've shot with that thing at 12,800 and it still doesn't have any apparent noise. It's amazing. Really very, very good.
Oh, keep in mind, of course, we got flare here all over the place, but I like working with that flare.
Oh yeah, that's sort of creative.
I must admit, I think we want to do a shootout soon. I want to get some legacy glass onto these cameras. We'll order in some adapters.
Oh yeah, I want to see this thing with contact 645 lenses. Absolutely excellent.
Yeah. I want to pull some stuff out of the museum. Some really old glass and pound it on your because
Yeah.
I like the idea of the old meets the new. I want something with some flaws. The rumor mill is sort of telling us that a lot of the 35mm format lenses will fill that sensor.
As long as you get a longer focal length than the 50 or so, it should still cover the format.
We might be able to put the Canon 85 on it. I also want to play with the Canon tilt shifts. I'm very excited. We know they're going to fill it.
Yeah.
Those tilt shifts will fill a full 645 frame because they've got a big circle. And I like using tilt shifts in the bar. I didn't have too many on the cocktails, but I shot some of the people with the tilt shift that opening night. So we'll talk about that another time. Let's get back to our other album here. So back to the Fuji versus Hasselblad. Now, tell me a little bit about what you felt your shooting experience was with the Hasselblad, Paul.
Well, it probably was only complicated by the fact that we had the white balance wrong, which put me off a bit than looking through the finder. But it's the focusing system which made it a bit difficult. I mean, I suppose you can't really compare a straight 90mm lens on this to the 120, which is a macro on there. So it's obviously going to give you a few.
Yeah, that's true. Focusing distance, I find I could never get close enough to the subject for what I was trying to shoot, but we don't have a macro lens for it, so we had to use what we had. So yeah, I struggled with that as well.
The funny thing is, though, when you look at it, and the shot we're the most happy with is taken with this.
True.
And the subtlety and the gradation and the look of the whole image is obviously shows you what decent lenses and what this how they've actually processing the images off the sensor gives you really nice results.
I did all the post-production in Lightroom. I didn't push anything really hard other than this particular image, which is with the Hasselblad. I added a lot of shadow. I painted in a little wee bit on the cocktail glass. I used the dehaze. This was the one that really got massaged a lot because it really should have been a throwaway. But I just kind of liked it. I mean, again, it's in the eye of the beholder, but I thought it was kind of interesting.
I'm sure the client will be happy with it.
Yeah. What about focusing, repeatability, and the ability just to get focus? How did you find the Hasselblad?
Oh, it's a little slow. There's no doubting that at all. And the Fuji's far faster to work with.
Yeah. I think anyone from going from a top-tier digital SLR in any of the major brands would be right at home with this.
Yeah. Very easy to master quickly, I think.
The camera doesn't get in the way of you taking pictures. And unfortunately, the Hasselblad got in the way of me taking pictures.
A little bit in this circumstance.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this isn't suited to this sort of subject matter.
Could very well be.
I'm sure using it for other things, and you can see the image quality is exceedingly good.
Yes.
So if you use it for other types of subject matter, it'll be fine.
My gut tells me a firmware update or maybe another revision. Maybe the CPU just doesn't have the same performance as what's in here. They got to move around the same amount of data. There's no disputing that. We know that both have the same basic sensor from Sony. I was using the Hasselblad to take some shots of you taking some shots with the Fuji. So I was running it without the flash. You had the flash. You were at the bar. And I wanted to get 3 or 4 shots off in quick succession. It was when Taylor was getting the Smoking Roos ready, and he had the flamethrower out. And I wanted to get a couple of shots, and I missed them all.
Yeah.
I just wasn't able to grab the focus, and then once I took 2 shots, the camera was kind of locked up, and I was waiting for it to recover. So it wasn't suited for rapid shooting for me. So that's where I felt let down.
That entirely sounds just like firmware to me. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they can have a few upgrades of that, and we'll be having a nice working camera.
But on the plus side, I love the feel of it in my hand.
Oh, absolutely. And really, the interface is very good. The touch screen, the actual button layout, it is very simple.
There's no doubt about it. When you dive into the user interface of this, it's just feature after feature after feature all over the place. I like the Fuji in straight manual mode and just forget about any of the settings as long as it's set up. And of course, we're responsible because we reset it and we didn't turn RAW.
Well,
on.
yes.
That was our own fault.
Yeah,
we're hustling. But on the Fuji, you've got, right on the aperture barrel, you've got your aperture settings. So you just dial in, you've got ISO over here on a physical knob, and you've got shutter speed on a physical knob. So if you want to just shoot in manual mode, you're ready to roll. The only thing, we didn't have, what was it called? The exposure preview, whatever that was, the exposure simulation, whatever they called that. We were dark in the viewfinder. So that, we struggled a bit.
That's our own fault.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd like to understand.
Yeah. And it's because we just pulled it out of higher and we hadn't used it. As a matter of fact, it was misbehaving, so we reset it. We didn't know who had monkeyed with it the last time.
Yeah, I don't think it was misbehaving. I think we weren't comprehending it properly.
Yeah, that could very well have been it. Oh, I liked a couple of these shots with it was the Apple Heart was this drink. I stood up on the chair, I remember, for this one. This was a fun drink.
In a terribly safe fashion, too.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. I think I had 3 people holding me, and I had a
rope going to
I had a
the
rope,
ceiling.
exactly. Yeah, that worked out quite well.
And
So
a parachute.
yeah, and we weren't drinking.
No.
So
No,
we were well within the guidelines. The this was I guess it was an apple-based drink, so I threw the apple in beside it. And I liked it had the Whitehart W logo, so he had a little plastic template that he was using that he threw in. What were our settings for this one? Was it the Fuji I shot this one with? Let me just take a look here.
That W is very Transformers, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Let me get over here. It's kind of going to go backwards. Okay, that's that one. Oh, here it is. Here it is.
There you go.
Okay, so it's 100th of a second. Oh, it's f8.
Yeah.
Oh, that's with ambient light.
Yep. Yep.
I cannot tell whether these were
No,
flash
it's
or
funny,
ambient.
isn't it?
Both of these cameras are ISO independent for all intents and purposes. I would not worry about just shooting in automatic ISO. All of a sudden, 1 degree of freedom you don't need to worry about. That is truly a game changer for a working photographer to not have to worry about the ISO. The image is going to have too much noise. I'll never take my 35mm Canon 5D Mark III beyond 800.
That's a
I just
good
don't
point,
like
isn't
it.
it? I mean, look at that high ISO, but the colour fidelity is fine.
Yeah.
There's no issue with the colour degradation as well.
I'm focused right on
look
the
at that.
lip of that. I mean, there's just so much there. It's just incredible. I just love it. I think it'd be a good drink too. Yeah.
We really should find out.
Yeah, I think we should. The what else? You got anything else that you liked in this?
Well, let's have a look. See.
I liked how our ice cubes were looking with the backlight. I mean, we didn't approach this shoot with classic drinks product photography, blocking out the light with black masks and all this stuff. This was kind of a run and gun shoot, adding a little bit of light. Really, we were. Our ambient was probably 2 stops down from the flash, so we were
at
mixing it
least
2 or 3
Yeah,
stops.
yeah.
We were just riding ISO as we saw fit, and just working with a simple, light on the back that was hard, a little soft light on the front. A really ultra simple go-to. We could have run hard light on the front too. It wouldn't have mattered. The more little reflections you get off ice cubes in the glassware, sometimes the better. We also didn't play with color temperature on the flashes. When I did the original shoot at Whitehart, I was using hot shoe flashes just on little light stands. We were using full-on Profoto, the big guns for this shoot. I liked my backlight. What was I using? I was using my front light was gelled. I was running one that was at white, and the other was color temperature orange. So I was mixing the color balance between two, and I find that an attractive look. So yeah, there's a lot of fun. Look at these ice cubes.
Look at those ice cubes, and they're so neutral as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and we didn't put a color chart in these pictures. I basically just warmed everything up. I can't remember what. I'll have to take a look at the white balance settings I had. But basically, every shot that had flash in it, I just set them to a color temperature in Lightroom and just did the same. But I mean, it's because it was the winter menu, I wanted things just to be a little bit warmer. And again, because we had the auto white balance on the Fuji set to fluorescent, when I brought them into Lightroom, they're like, "Oh my God, what's up?" I immediately ran downstairs and turned the camera on to see what it was set at, and realized, it was at fluorescent. But because we had it raw, it wasn't a big deal. I'd be willing to bet, even if I only had JPEGs out of the Fuji, there's enough room in these files. They're so juicy that you can muck around with them a fair bit. Possibly shooting in daylight on tungsten, that would have been truly bad.
Yeah.
But with a raw file, you're always good to go. The auto white balance on the JPEGs that we got out of the Fuji were very, very good. They were just ready to roll.
Well, they're really quite famous for how accomplished their JPEGs are. So, yeah, very impressive.
Okay, so I think we've kind of talked about the cameras. If you had to pick a winner, it was the Fuji one on usability. Both Paul and I picked Paul's shot as the real highlight of the day, and that was shot on the Hasselblad. The two cameras had slightly different bokeh. So that's kind of in the eye of the beholder as to which one you bokeh more.
I don't think I can say bokeh anymore because I'm getting a sore throat.
Oh, are you? Okay, yeah, exactly.
It's bokeh.
Oh, Harry says it's bokeh.
I don't agree.
Bokeh.
No.
Bokeh.
Oh, okay.
Just-
But all the pictures were spectacularly good. They're easy on the eyes. It was a really fun event doing a camera shootout live on Facebook. Of course, you can then see the high-def version of it on YouTube. So we've got quite a few views. I think we're in the 700s on both the intro video, the actual shootout, and let's just see how our follow-up goes. We love Facebook for live broadcasting. We're getting great engagement with the Michaels followers. And we are using a suite of Blackmagic design tools for these live broadcasts. I did a live broadcast just an hour or two earlier from this same room, as a matter of fact, all on streaming on Facebook and how we do it at Michaels. So we certainly recommend you watch that. I'll have that video up on the Michaels YouTube channel as well. We have grand ambitions for more camera shootouts. We do love these two cameras, so we'll probably try to come up with another, maybe portraiture or something.
Well, we're going to have. Well, that's a good point, because in only about a month or so, there are 2 more lenses coming out.
That actually brings up another point. Yeah. When you and I did the unboxing for the Hasselblad, we were missing a certain lens.
Oh, we were, weren't we?
That's right, and we've got it now.
That would be this one just here, the 30mm wide angle.
Now that's in conventional terms is around what, 20?
Oh, either about 18 or 20,
18?
something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
Oh, multiply by 0.79. Could someone do that? Multiply
Sounds
by
more like about 20 to me.
Yeah. Now, and that's one advantage right now for the Hasselblad over the Fuji, because they don't have a wide yet, but it's coming.
They will.
It's coming.
23mm. I think it's 2.8 or f4.
Yeah, 23. They're going to have. That's right. So they're going to be beating Hasselblad on the wide. Now, keep in mind, both of these cameras can be used with a mount adapter to run those H or HC series Hasselblad lenses, which Fuji made anyway. So we haven't got our hands on that adapter, but we saw it. Warwick from Fuji brought it in that one day.
I've had one in Japan.
You played with it in Japan? Yeah. So we need to get our hands on some other types of lenses. So we've got a lot of big things. I want to pull an old Canon rangefinder lens out of the museum.
I know which one you mean.
I want to put the 50mm f095 on here. Yeah. That's called the Dream lens. Apparently because the bokeh is very dreamy. So I want to pull that one out. And when the Hasselblad HC series lens is used, the Fuji gains leaf shutter. Which of course is
loses autofocus.
But loses autofocus. Keep in mind, this camera does have a leaf shutter on it, so we can do higher speed sync. The sync speed on the Fuji is 1/25th, and this is indeterminate. I guess that goes right up to the maximum. We didn't really play with that in the field, but that might be something.
That's another day.
But I want to do a portraiture shootout with these two cameras. So I think that'll be a slower paced.
Well, there's 110mm f2 coming out for this camera. So
is it f2 or f2.8?
No, it's 2.
f2. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah. So that should.
I wonder is that going to come in the next batch?
Yep, that's in June. Yep.
So very soon. So once we get our hands on, we'll come up with something. We're going to get all of the Blackmagic video streaming stuff in we call it the mobile production unit, the MPU. So that's our next plan, so that we can take this stuff all on the road without the huge table of gear that David's working at. If you can you pan over and show what David's dealing with right here? So this is what we've got right now, and you saw it in the other live broadcast. So David's all set up behind a monitor with a bunch of tools and a laptop. So we're going to get this all road cased up, and we'll be able to maybe even run it with battery power. We can just take the whole road show out in the field.
Road.
Yeah. Another one of the things I want to do, and I'm not too sure which lenses, I'm thinking maybe a Sigma shootout versus the big brand names with concert photography. Love to do that as a live thing. So we just need to find a venue and a live band that want to be our guinea pigs, and we'll go head to head with the Sigma Art Series. So Harry's all excited about that. He wants to play. So
we'll get a band for you.
Harry's going to get us a band.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, who knows about that. But anyway, hey, listen. Put your comments into our Facebook feed, into our YouTube videos. What do you want to see us test? We're open to any and all suggestions.
Careful.
Within reason. Within reason. I've got some ideas. I love panoramic photography, so I want to do a little live broadcast on the panoramas. We did a live broadcast the other day on drones for my independent channel, but I'm going to Michaelsify that one a little wee bit, make it less about panoramas and more about intro to drones, and we might even do that one tomorrow. So that's exciting if you want to get a little bit of a starter primer on how to get a drone out of the box and in the air. I'm thinking about doing it tomorrow, so keep abreast of our Facebook page for that. So we've got a lot of ideas that are coming. We love Facebook Live. We like getting these videos repurposed onto YouTube afterwards where they continue to give the love. And of course, we love photography and videography. So that's what we're all about at Michael's. We want you to come into the store. We want you to buy online from us. We want you to follow us on Facebook, check out our YouTube videos, and keep those comments and ideas flowing. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for joining us on our roundup of cocktail photography. And I guess that's it.
That's it.
Hit those like buttons, share away, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Okay.
Okay.